Okay, we finished the magic house. Excellent. I've been itching to do some spells. In fact, first, that's better. You can see a lot from here. So, speaking of seeing, if you want to see how I made all the rest, stay tuned. And I'll see you at the end. But first, I must fly. Oh my goodness! Ah, how do people... Whoa. Oh my goodness! How do people do this? Ah! Whoa! Ah!
Okay, we're gonna finish this little house, magic house. I'm just gonna divide it into quadrants, so room by room, I guess. So we're gonna do, this one is the lower left room when you're facing it. And the first thing we're gonna do is we gotta punch these out, of course. These are tricky to punch out. I found that I had to sand almost every single one. And you're just going to punch these out, and then you're going to put the black frames on the side where it has the brick. Now, I have to admit, this threw me off just a little bit because when you look at the picture, it shows a black frame, right? So I was thinking, oh no, I don't have enough. Am I missing parts? No, it's this. It's the plastic piece. And make sure you peel the film off. There is a film right there. And then you're just going to cut these out. This is going to go on the inside. Now, if you're used to the kits that have the slots into the holes, this is not that kit. These are all going to be made gluing it up like you do little shelves and boxes. Just think of it as a big box, but it's walls instead. So we're going to attach the bottom floor here, and that edge does stick out a little bit. That back edge is going to be where your wires and your power box is going to go. And this is why we pre-make all these parts with all the parts inside, because once this is back in here, it'll be very difficult. It's doable, but not easy to stick that little shelf with all your little bits and bobs back there. Again, that little hole in the back, that's going to be where your power source is going to go. It makes sense when it's done. And then we're going to put the front wall. This is a very open-ended house, so keep in mind that anything with that brick imprint, that's going to go on the outside. That's the outside of the little ruined castle here. Okay, this is a little different, at least for me, of how we're going to do lighting. We're going to use those fairy lights, those teeny tiny lights you probably have seen, and you put them in mason jars and make them look pretty and all that. Well, instead we're going to use them for lighting in the house. Different, and I might store this away and use it for some future projects because this was actually a very good idea. And these little fairy lights are usually cheaper than the LED mini teeny tiny lights that you have to get for doing dioramas and stuff. Maybe I'll use it for future. But basically we're going to mark where our lights are going to go here. There's 3 sets of lights. So one has the 8 light strand, and then there's one that has only 1, and then there's one that has, I think, 2 or 3 of them. So we're going to use, and they're all jumbled together, so you have to untangle them. So we're going to take the one that has 8 first. And how they number it, lamp 1, 2, 3, 4 there. So you're going to start with number 1 at the very tippy end and work your way. If you start at the right end, you'll be good. So the very first light here, the very end of your long string of 8, is going to stick out a little bit. It says 2.2 centimeters there, approximately. So since I'm not quite sure, and I'm not sure where the measurement, I think the measurement is from the top of the light down. I measured it from the top. You could fudge it a little bit. It just sticks up through the side lamp. Either way you do it, you should be okay. Now they do provide little stickers. It wasn't handy for me, but my tape dispenser is very handy right next door to me. So it doesn't matter because this is, as long as you stick it down so it doesn't move, that's the key. And then it's going to get covered up with the little wallpaper there. So the next one is just going to go right where you marked it, and I just kind of centered it up. And this is very flexible and bendy. Just don't bend it too much. It is like wire. If you bend it over and over and over again, it will break eventually. Now once you get the one light where you want it to go, I'm going to string this through. It's a little chubby where the connectors are. Try not to break those apart. And then we're just going to string it all the way through. And then I'm going to tape it down. And the reason they want your lights there is because there's holes in the paper, and that's going to shine through. Kind of like recessed lights in your ceiling. Alright, now we're going to glue the paper on. I made sure to put a little extra glue around each of the lights so that the paper sticks down around those parts and then around the edges. Now this didn't stick flush because the wire's in there. It makes it bulge a little bit. I did have to do my little paper clip trick here and let it dry there. Once you get it, because you got to turn this upside down and put it on your room there, it will help it stick down too. Alright, let's stick the roof on. And you're just gonna glue it to the wall. But before we glue it, remember this little sticky outy thing here? There's a hole on the side, and this is for the street sign. So you're going to stick that through first, and then glue it down. There we go. That's what it should look like. In our bottom little room, all the walls are done. Alright, we got the floor above that one. So it would be the top left floor. We're going to do basically the same thing. So we're going to put the little windows on there. And then the clear film windows. Now this wall doesn't have the brick motif on it. So pay attention to which direction. So you notice how there's more space on the right hand side there. So that's going to be bigger. This is going to be on the inside of your room. Basically the film, the stained glass windows are going to be on the inside. Alright, we got a little side wall here. And there's two pieces. And they do fit together. I had to think of up, right, left, right. There we go. And they just glue it together, just like that. And now we're gonna put our little walls up. Now, if this isn't, I have that fast tack glue, so the lighter the better. It sticks really fast, but it doesn't stop it from tipping over, especially if your table's not level. So if you have to, prop it up while it's drying. And then we have that little rough edge there, and you can see I prop it up. Always have little bottles handy, laying around, just for this. We'll say that. And then we gotta put the back wall. Okay, so we got to pay attention to where we place the lights. So take your time. I study it quite a bit. I condensed this down a lot. I cut out all my concentration time. But so it's going to, number one is going to go right where that long slot is there. And there's a rhyme and reason to where they want to place these. Again, I'm using Scotch tape. They do provide little stickers to stick there. Whatever. As long as you stick it down. You could even use glue. That's fine. We've done that in past kits, right? Where we just use glue. But placement is important. Alright, if you've managed the maze of lights here, and it doesn't matter how they squiggle them, as long as the lights are through those holes, or laying where the holes are. So we're going to put the last one through here. And you're going to notice that they want it to stick out a little bit. So in order to do that, we kind of had to bump it out a little bit. So I strung it through and then threaded it back. It'll make sense in a minute. So we're going to take this little guy and we're going to bend it. It's pretty forgiving, but I mean, don't be too rough to it. But we're just kind of slightly put a bend in it so that this pops out just a little bit, like that. And then we're going to kind of pre-fit this, make sure we did it right. So it should go, so that one should stick out. And then the other ones, if you line them up, should shine through the little slots. What's nice about the tape is you can, if you didn't glue it and just taped it, you could just pull it off and try again if you got it in the wrong spots. So now I'm going to secure it, and I'm confident that I did it right. Fingers crossed. And I will be honest, you're supposed to be testing these lights before you put it together. I didn't test them at all. I'm just going on pure faith right now. And this little light that sticks up, you're going to put the little rivet over it, just like that. All right, let's glue it to the walls. This will be a very tight, that wire, well, at least the way I did it, it was kind of a tight fit. You kind of have to juggle the walls and the wires and the ceiling. It'll work though. There we go. Our light sticks out right there just like they wanted it. Maybe a little more than they wanted, but that's okay. It's just a light fixture. And on the outside we have these little trim pieces. And remember that light that stuck out on the side? There's a reason for it, and it's for this sign. Now this one, I don't know why this threw me off a lot, but make sure you put, so the paper goes on the outside of the wood piece. This, for some reason, I thought it was going to go on the inside, but no, it goes on the outside. And then the light, that little gap on the side that looks like it's going to eat something, that's where the light feeds through. And once you got your two sides all glued, you just sandwich that little light right in the middle, just like that. This surprisingly stuck immediately for me. Usually I have to hold it there for a long, long time. And there we go. Cute little magic sign. Magic! That's what's here. Time to furnish this room. There was a ladder way in the back. For some reason, I thought sometimes I mix up pause for play and record, but there was a little ladder that I stuck in the back. It just leans up against the shelf, and then you put all your little stuff in there. In the second floor here, that wire that's sticking out, mine was really tight, but I think theirs was a little looser, but that's okay. So what they want you to do is there's some stickers of posters, and that's going to cover up that wire. So just kind of willy-nilly put your little sticker posters and cover up that wire. Just like that. All right, now we're going to start placing our furniture. First, our nice big shelf. It does fit in there. And I do, on all the furniture, I put a little gloop of glue on the bottom. This glue dries completely clear, so no worries there. And we have a dirty little castle ruin, so even if it did gloop a little bit, kind of, it's part of the atmosphere, right? We're going to hang our pictures. And place all our scrolls that we've made. Now, I'm not going to show how to make scrolls and books and things like that in this episode. The last video, if you need to know, I show in detail how to make the scrolls and how to make the books. But I think you could figure it out. You're smart. And I almost forgot to put the little rug in before I put the newspapers down. It's okay. We'll just tuck it in there. We'll make it work. All right, now we're going to do the rooftop. It's kind of the garden rooftop here. So they have this little astroturfy kind of stuff, and we have this pattern that's on a sticker, which is kind of nice. Now they wanted us just to stick this directly on it, but I wanted to conserve a little bit, so I thought I'd make it a little bit smaller and see if I can save some parts. It seemed like a waste, so I tried to do this as efficient as possible. Now there's a little corner piece here. First we're going to stick this side, and it does go a little bit away from the edge because this is where our railing and our walls, you got to have space for the walls and the railing. So just a smidgen away from the edge. Going to put the little sidewall, got to thread our wire through it first. And then we find out if we cut it right, because it should fit right here like a puzzle piece. Ta-da! Add some steps, and we got the foundation for our roof here. All right, now we got the rooftop walls. Now this one's backwards, so the brick or the stone facade there, that now it goes on the inside. Now we're going to start putting our walls up. Now this wire here are the light. There's one bulb left on there, and that's just going to kind of stick up, and it's going to kind of glow behind your, remember the plant desk? So just squish it up however, and just enough for the light to be just tall enough for that table. I have a lot of slack, so I just kind of smushed it all over. And it doesn't have to be pretty because it's going to get hidden. So when you glue this wall, this wire should fit in between the little cracks of the wall, like that. All right, now we're going to make some vines here. So they gave you this rope, and you're just going to untwist it so that it's two separate ropes, just like that. And you're going to make a bunch of different lengths. So there's going to be about 3 pieces that are about 20 centimeters. There's one at 11.5, and then there's one at 8.5. Honestly, if you mess up the measurements on this part, it's fine. They're just going to be wandering vines around your walls there. And now we're going to glue it around the edges. Kind of how they show. I mean, if you do it different, that's perfectly fine. And I'll tell you, my little tiny clothespins come in very handy. And there's a couple little shorty ones, and they just kind of drip over the edge, just like that. They also had you, I didn't do it, but you certainly could, is they had some extra vines towards the end where you can cover the wires in the back. I always feel nobody looks in the back of your thing ever. Unless you're going to set it in the middle of a table, it doesn't really matter. Now these vines have a couple layers of foliage. The first one is going to be just glob it with glue here and there everywhere, and then just sprinkle your dark green moss all over. And then the next layer is these little teeny tiny leaves that you're going to cut off the plastic plants that you get. I saved 2 stems worth of leaves for the other half of the house. So just two stems worth of little leaves, and then save the rest for the other part. And it'll look something like that. And even if you get moss here, there, everywhere, it doesn't matter, or just blow it away. And now we can put our table in here. And that light should fit right behind it. And we have our little crazy plant that goes in the window. And we're going to place all our regular plants. I honestly just kind of did it how I wanted. I didn't have all the plants that they showed in the picture, which is fine. Just fill it up. And just keep in mind that the fence is going to go there, so don't go all the way to the edge. And speaking of fence, I decided before I get too far, I'm going to put this little edging in so I know where my plants can lean up against. There we go. And you could put as much as or as little or however you want to do that. This one's just nice and full. Alright, this is going to be one of many little cauldrons we're going to do. Pretty easy. So you're going to take this black wire. It's very bendy, so it's pretty forgiving. And you're going to bend it around the top here. There's a little ledge there. And then you're going to twist it tight. Once you got it where you want it, Just clip the ends off. Leave a few twists there, otherwise it'll fall off. And then we're going to twist a couple, or bend, I guess, a couple little U's. These are going to be the side handles on each side of the cauldron. And we're going to fill our cauldron with a steamy green Grinch fur. And you're just going to scrape this off. We've done this kind of sort of before. Just scrape, 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 scrape. It's not a great sound to me. But just scrape it until you get enough little fuzz to fill our cauldron. And then you're going to glue your little stirring spoon stick thing. There we go. Now we're going to make a stand for it. It's just a circle, and it's got 3 little legs. Now that we got our little cauldron, I'm going to stick it over here. They wanted it on the other side, but I felt it looked better over there. Okay, now we're going to build the clock tower, the clock in the middle. So this one, I will be honest, I did it backwards first, but you're going to put the 2 sides on. And then you're going to glue this, what I thought was the back piece, but it's actually the front piece. So I'm going to go, oops. It should be the other way around. So the printing should be showing, see, the printing should be showing to the outside. It's kind of, the clock is kind of recessed in. So yeah, I did this backwards. We'll flip this around. There we go. It helps to stare at the picture a little bit and go, wait, how is this supposed to look in the end? This is the time when it's good to skip to the end of the book. And we have a couple steps that go up to the clock here, and it's just 2 pieces sandwiched together. And oh my goodness, these pieces are so nicely labeled. Perfect. Alright, now we're going to put them together so that we'll put the shorter piece at the bottom, and there's at least 2 little legs, or arms, whatever, that go on each end. And once you got that, you're going to put this on the top. And it should fit just right like that. So just when we put this backing on, keep in mind there's a front side and a back side. We want the front of the clock to face down. See, there's the up. That's the back side. We're doing everything in reverse, backwards. And you can't have a clock without the little hands. So we got this little gear. This seems like it would be difficult. It wasn't at all. You're just going to stack them up. I decided to use my clear glue. I wanted a little bit of strength. You can put it to whatever time you want it to be. And in the middle, there's a a little screw. It doesn't actually screw in. It actually is just glued together. And then just glue it to the middle of your clock. And then last, we're gonna glue it to the back of the steps. It does line up, all flush. Now we're gonna make some stairs. There's 3 flights of stairs. This is one of them. So what we're gonna do is make sure it's facing the right way. Otherwise you're gonna have to take them off and put them back together. Not that I've done that. And then we'll just put the little staircases on. Try to get them as flat as possible. I mean, it's tricky, but take your time. I would say the trickiest part of all the stairs is getting that second piece like this lined up with the other piece. My best advice is don't let your little stair steps dry 100% before you get to this part, because then you can't move them very well. Again, not that I did that or anything. And I figured, well, if they are just a slightly crooked, that's okay. This is an old building. There we go. Got our stairs. Alright, we're going to do this little cabinet area. Now, looking back on this, so you had to take these little doors out and then glue the paper onto them. I honestly think you could have left the doors on there connected and just glue this wood or the paper on. It would have had the same exact effect. Because you're not going to open or shut them. See, you got to glue them back into place. So I thought after doing it, it's like, why didn't we just leave them in there and just glue the paper on? Whatever. And once you're got those doors on, then we're going to put the little railing up. And it just lines up with the steps up there. Now I put the railing on before I did this part for a reason, because I wanted to be able to flatten the railing on there. And if you had these shelves on here, it would be tricky to have things nice and flat. And I'm just making sure that the lettering, that the labels that they have is facing down so you don't see it. I mean, you put stuff on these shelves and it probably would cover it, but I like it for aesthetic reasons. And also, and I do it wrong here, is make sure you're pushing it all the way to the top of where my right hand is. Push it over that way, because you have to fit a wall on the bottom there. I did have to take them off and fix them to put the wall on later. Alright, and then we just got a little archway that goes here. And we're just going to glue this to the floor. The walls go to the outside of the flooring. And this is where I had to fix it, because this wall right there, see, that shelf is going to hit it. So I'm going to need to adjust that a little bit. And this is after I manipulated it a little bit so that it would fit a little bit flatter. Much better. All right, we had an excellent suggestion to use a board with some double sticky tape. Thank you. I forget who suggested it, but thank you, because this worked out beautifully, and I'm going to use this from now on. So double sticky tape, I'm making little tiny bottles, and I just stuck it on there. Ugh, it's like having a third hand. I know, all you experienced ones are going, yeah, that's how we do it. Well, now that's how I do it too. And we have a couple little books. Again, if you need to know how to do the books, it's in the previous video. And we're just going to glue these together. We also had to make a million scrolls. I do show how I make those in the previous video, but it's just rolled up paper. I think you could figure that out. And let's go ahead and decorate our little shelves. Okay. I can hear you cringing. I know I did this wrong. Well, first off, I'm going to show you that I kind of bent these papers to kind of make them look like they're worn and they're kind of falling off, and they looked oh so cute. But yep, can you spot what I did wrong? Let's take those off. If you said you forgot to put the railing on first, you are correct. So we'll gently take these papers that I so nicely stuck on here. Good to know my glue works. And we'll stick the railing on. And then put those papers on. Alright, I figured before I get too far, I'm going to start putting these walls together. I think we have enough stuff and parts and pieces that we can actually do that. So I'm going to glue the little clock tower in there. My walls were not straight, so you just kind of do your best. And I have to do a top floor to our staircase, and for that we're going to make a little chandelier. Not too tough. The only tip I can give you on this one is let things dry before you flip things upside down. And they do say that. Before you flip it, let it dry. You'll see what I mean. So once you get to this part, this little tower, I did have to hold it for a little while because those little arms will fall off, but let that dry and then we can do this part. Because if you flip it while it's wet, all those that little tower of things is just gonna fall right off. We don't want you to be mad. And line it up as best as you can because your light is gonna fit through there. And we have one wall, but we have to wallpaper. Not too bad. Usually we have to do every single wall. And you just, paper on the board. Easy as that. I don't think there's a right or wrong side up. And we're just going to put the archway. The archway goes on top of the floor, and then that brick wall goes to the back of the floor. So this sits on top, and then the other one goes down. If all goes well, it should be nice and level on the top there, because that's going to be your top floor. Just like that. All right, we got another, this is the second of 3 little staircase. Okay, our chandelier is nice and dry, won't fall apart, looking good. Now, there's a couple ways you can do this. You can either put the wire in first, or you can glue the chandelier and then put the wire. I think it'll work either way. Before we do that, we're going to glue this staircase on. This one I let dry completely, and it kind of worked against me because you can see that very middle step is going a little crooked, so it didn't want to line up very well. But I think after much manipulation, looks just fine. There you go. Alright, now we're going to put the ceiling on. So I did debate how I was going to do this. There's 2 lights. 3 lights, sorry. This is the one with 3 lights. So one's going to stick through. It does tell you about 2 centimeters to stick through. I'm contemplating how I'm going to do this. So what I did is I stuck it through and then just kind of glued the chandelier onto it. So then I knew how much it was going to be there. Just like that. And I had to hold that on there for a long time. Make sure your chandelier is there good, because it will fall off as soon as you do this. So just stick it on there. It does fit right in there. And now we're going to build the floor. So this is going to be the main base. There is 3 parts. I didn't show the third one. So there's these 2 that kind of stagger like this, and then there's a third one that's a little bit bigger that goes on the bottom of that. Just has like a frilly edge. And you have one more light, and it's just a single light, and this kind of fits in the middle here. This is where your, I don't know, it's like a little orb in the middle. So you're just going to string it up through the bottom, and then the tail is going to go up in the back. Okay, I was getting a little excited to stick this together because it does look cool. So we're going to put this, the left side here to us is going to go on here, and that wire that sticks out the back, I'm concentrating right now, it's going to go right there, and it's going to fit in that little indent in the very back. Right here. So it's going to go all the way to the edge. Perfect. And if you don't get this exactly centered, that's okay. And then we're going to attach the other side. And this way, it'll be kind of there. So that hole in the middle of the clock tower, there's a light there. Just kind of eyeball center it a little bit. There is going to be something there. There we go. We're all lined up. Now we can work with it. You can see that I didn't discover that railing was missing at the bottom there on the right hand side until almost to the end. Oops. Okay, for these last couple lights, I have one light. There's two lights left. One is going to be kind of like the rooftop one where it's just kind of jumbled up there. So it doesn't need to be very exact, but this one does. This one needs to be in the center of the clock tower here. So I thought I would do that first before the other one because that'll dictate how much slack I have. So we're going to basically, it's going to be sandwiched between this circly piece of paper here. I'm just going to use my Scotch tape to kind of tack it down here. And it seems like it's wrong, but the blue is going to face towards the clock. And then the pretty little astrological clock on the back, that goes to the back. That's just for people who want to see it from the back. And then you're just going to glue it to the tower here. Now, if I had thought about it, I could have angled it just a little bit so that I had more wire slack to the right side there. But you'll see in the end, it didn't matter. There we go. Very cute, very pretty. It would have been nice if that clock actually worked. I bet you could put an actual clock workings. Might do that. So you can see there's a little notch in our back wall here, and that's exactly where the wire fits. And before we get too far, we have one more staircase to do. And these stairs are going to fit right here. These fit exactly perfect, so it's not too shabby. They definitely calculated this. Alright, there's this cool little orb thing. Now, I thought it was strange. So mine came pre-printed, and then they wanted you to put stickers on top of it, and I thought, why? There's already cool printing on it. So I left it as is. I didn't put the stickers on there. And then it's just a little rivet in the middle. They wanted you to have the light stick up because it's going to go up and through this marble here, but I didn't do it that way. You certainly could do it. I thought it would be a little tricky. So to make this little planet gyroscope looking thing, you're going to stick your little marble in the middle, or bead, I guess it is. It does have, it has a hole through the middle, so you could definitely put the light through. I don't know, in my brain I thought this isn't going to work. So I just built it as is, just like this. Now, if you built it how they wanted, the little light would stick up through your little green bead, or you can do like me and I just kind of balanced it on there. It was tricky. I bet you if I had the light up through it, it would probably sit up nice and straight, but no, I have to make it difficult. A few more parts and pieces. We're just gonna build a chair. And we're gonna stack a few books on top. And then you have a cute little witch hat or sorting hat, whatever. And you're just going to use one of these black strips. It's not a sticker, so you have to glue it on. And then there's a little buckle on it. Gotta put your little wizard hat on there. Ta-da! Might have to move the books a little bit so it'll fit. And just like we made the staff in the last video, we're going to make a broom. It's just the very ends. I mean, if you're super talented and good at painting, you could certainly just paint the end to make it look like a broom. And we have two more cauldrons. They're made just like the other one. Just one doesn't have the little handles. The little tiny one has handles. And the big one has feet. Okay, for the insides of these cauldrons, it's got a bunch of little viney things. Easy enough. Make sure you split them apart and just cut them to size. And it's got a little piece of paper there. But the tricky part, which isn't that bad, I dreaded doing these little mushrooms, but all you do is very carefully, don't stab yourself, is take either probably like a little pin or something. I used the end of my X-Acto knife. You can cringe. I did not stab myself. Shocker. and you're just going to put little dents in there. Make it look like it's a speckly mushroom. And then you're going to just gently, don't cut all the way through, just kind of scrape the bottom end of these little red things off. They give you plenty. I think they figure you're going to cut through at least once. So just cut off the end piece so it's kind of flat. Looks like a mushroomy. Kind of, sort of. Close enough. And then you cut it off. So now that we're going to put all our parts and pieces together, I'm going to take this little piece of paper and just crumple the heck out of it. It gets softer and softer the more you manipulate it. You want it to look like an old piece of paper. We're going to put a little bit of moss in it, and then we're going to stick our mushrooms on there. And it also had just a little snippet of one of the pieces of that blue, I'm not sure what it's like, a sea anemone. Just a little piece. And you're going to put it all in the littlest little cauldron here. Just fill it up. And then you're just going to stack them up, just all kind of wonky. I think I used the wrong bottom piece, but there you go. That looks good. Then you're going to make a couple little barrels, and you're just going to wrap them up in the, I don't know why they use smooth, or not smooth, but varnished beads for this, so it's a little bit tricky. If it's not sticking for you, you could always kind of sand it a little bit so that the glue will stick. But you basically just wrap it in the tube, and then you put the two end pieces on there. I did have to trim mine quite a bit. And you don't have to worry about the edges being super perfect, because you'll be able to cover them up with these black bands, which you're going to put in the top, bottom, and then in the middle of each one. And let's go ahead and place our little guys, along with a cute little owl. We're going to call him George. And we're also going to place our little cauldrons and chair. Alright, we got one more accessory to do. So they gave us this huge piece of sandpaper, which, thanks. I mean, you always use sandpaper. But we only need a little piece, so I'm just going to put this on here and cut it out. You do not have to do it exactly to what that pattern is. It's just kind of a blob of sand, kinda. Now we're going to make this little open-faced book. So what we're going to do is take this and fold it in half and glue it together. and put it kind of a little bend in the middle. It's going to be an open book. Then you're going to have all these pages, and this did throw me off because at first I was like, wait a minute, like this, it doesn't fit in my cover. You know what you had to do? You're supposed to fold them all in half and then put them in. And like everything else, we're going to put a little bit of moss in the middle and a couple little mushrooms, which we know how to make now. Now we made about 4 books with the accordion style pages, and I will tell you, glue all those pages together because it wanted to pop up on me all over the place. So what they wanted is just all these books just stacked up. Like he's just got a pile of books over here. I pressed these down for a very long time, and then I finally just put something on top of it for a while. While in the meantime, while that's drying, I'm going to wrinkle up another little scroll here. And you're going to find that you have a few leftover books. This is where you want to stack them. Just stack them all over until it lays flat. And then you're going to put your wrinkly piece of paper and your open face book. You'll also put moss, as always, and a couple more mushrooms. And then if you have some leftover scrolls, here you go. That's where you put them. Alright, so this little bare corner here, this piece, ta-da, it's finally all dry, is going to cover up all those wires. So just let it stick up just a little bit. I kind of manipulated it so it kind of glowed in the middle of our book pile. And then stick it down over there. And we're going to finish this off with some more vines. We know how to do this. We're going to string it all along the edges here, and then moss it, and then put some of those leaves on it. Okay, I dreaded this because I realized, I didn't test a single light. I don't know if these work or not. If I had a couple work and a couple not, oh well. But, so what I do is, I'll tell you a trick is, I put a mirror, I take my little mirror and I put it back here because you can't look at where the lights are, but you can with the mirror. And so I just tested all these lights. Unfortunately, the ones that went behind the clock and our chandelier, no matter what I did, it did not work. You know, 3 lights out of all of them, out of what, 12? That's not too bad. The other ones did work though. Yay! I was surprised too. I use shrink tubes to put these all together. It's really tricky with that stiff wire, but so I got the shrink tubes. I can get them, at my local hardware store. You can get a whole box of them for what, $10, and I use them all the time. I have yet to run out. And you just put it over the exposed wires, and then you shrink it with your heat, either a heat gun or a hair dryer. And then you just kind of tuck your wires in over here. I just cut my losses on the clock wires and just kind of tucked it in. It's okay. I might revisit it and see if I can get that to work. There we go. See, the important ones work. Very cool. We got a nice glow. We got a whole bunch of lights where our desks are. Those are the important parts. That's where we work. And then, of course, in the middle, kind of has a nice glow. We just won't look to the right side. Those lights don't work. We just left them off. We're conserving energy, right? Very, very cute.
Oh, whew. Okay, so it's done. I hope you enjoyed this, and I had fun making it. It had its challenges for sure, and it had some timeouts. That's okay. But if you're up for a challenge and you want to up it just a little bit from the ones that are just, slot in the hole kind of kits, this is the one for you. It's it'll challenge you, so which is a good thing. We need to learn bigger and better, or smaller and more challenging things. So I have so much more to come. We got Father's Day coming up, got something planned for that. And I am going to commit to at least one check-in a month on the dollhouse. I will commit to that, maybe more, but I can at least a minimum of once a month. How about that? Is that a deal? I think I got to look at the lighting next, so we'll check that out. And oh my gosh, we hit over 2,000 subscribers. Unbelievable. I didn't do a magic spell, I swear. But, well, maybe. And thank you very, 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 very much. I really do appreciate it. I guess I gotta make some more videos, huh? Oh well, keeps me out of trouble. So, I will see you next time. Bye!